We got a question in from Chantel in Great Falls, and she asked, what is the proper way to plant a tree? Well, it turns out I actually lost a birch tree last year that I've been meaning to replace. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go talk to Matt, who actually has a lot of experience in planting trees, and we're gonna see what's the best way to plant a tree. Hey Matt, you ready to go?
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming.
So I've got a few years of landscaping under my belt. I've probably got about 16 years worth of landscaping experience, and I headed up and managed a landscaping team for about 5 years here in town. So definitely have put a few trees in the ground in my day. This is a honey locust, which happens to be actually my favorite tree. The first thing I do is I usually just cut a circle with the blade of my shovel, and then we'll start to remove the sod. Once we get the sod removed, we can start to dig our hole, and we'll save that dirt, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Cool? Jake and I got to work on our circle grinding skills, but for the most part,
It's a nice oval.
yeah, you know, trees prefer ovals. No. So anyway, so now we'll just plop them back in, see if we were good. That's definitely a nice size hole, so we'll start digging there. To get to that point where we should probably check some depth. Depth is probably the #1 reason why we would get a call to a customer's home to take a tree out and maybe replace it with something. You can see the collar here. This is that transition from really the trunk, which is going to start to get down into the root system. The collar is really the part of the tree that you don't want to have dirt above. The way I check depth is with my shovel. So we'll just kind of go about to the top of this lip. So that's how deep I want to plant my tree. Having a second shovel is really handy for this as well. So you just can lay this across your hole. That's going to give you your plane across. Here's my depth. I go down. So looks like we can go down a little bit more, but we don't need to go much. Getting a tree out of a pot, depending on how long it's been in there, you know, if it's end of season and this baby's really been growing, you can get what's kind of called a root-bound ball. That means that the roots are really start to, because the roots can't go anywhere, so they start to spiral. We can see that. One, that kind of helps it, that makes it a little harder to get the pots off. Two, we'll see if we have that problem. If you do have a real root-bound ball, it's okay to take, I always, you know, have my utility knife, and it would be okay to score those roots, break them up, because what you do is when you cut those roots, that's just going to force them to start to grow again, and once it's in the hole, they won't want to continue growing. If you don't cut those when it's real root bound, the roots continue to just grow in a circular fashion, and it'll strangulate the tree, and you'll have a dead tree. So you can just take this one out, so we can get a good look at this guy. This is looking good. This is standard. This is typically what you're going to run into. So we can kind of get it in there and just see how we did. I'm happy with our depth here. So I think what we can do next is let's just kind of level him out. I would just kind of stand back. He's got to go uphill that way and uphill that way. So yep, something kind of like that. And kind of start to throw that in on this side. So we're pretty good and straight. So let's, I'm just gonna cut the roots a little bit here. Just be careful. So yeah, this is looking good. So I like to keep the soil nice and loose and airy. Any clumps or big clumps you come across, just break them up, back and down. So,
You ready?
yeah, you can go ahead and kind of kink them out. There you go.
So how much water do you generally put in?
Well, so what you're doing is you're just trying to make these soils
Is that enough?
wet. You can add a little bit more, you're not gonna hurt anything. What you're doing by watering halfway through when you plant a tree is you're just ensuring that the water is going to get down to the bottom of that ball. It's not necessary. It is good practice, though. Absolutely. As we start to add soil, this soil is going to be nice and wet. So, as you kind of start to get to this stage, that's when you can start to kind of move this soil back. Again, I'm a big hands-on guy. So, here's that collar again. We're sitting good. As Jake's raking out all this kind of extra soil, you know, we're pretty well planted. Things are looking good. Give him a little, he's going to be pretty soft. He's got some water in there. Things are looking good. So what's kind of nice is if you have the soil, you can kind of create like a dam, however you want, whatever you want to verbalize it as, on the outside. And what that does is that's going to hold water in here, and you can go ahead and if you want, you can just turn that hose on to a nice slow trickle and put them in here. That's a perfect time to start doing it. Okay. You definitely, one of the best ways to ensure that your tree's getting off to a good start is to get it a good water as soon as you get it into the ground. So,
So you ready for it?
yeah, we're ready. That really ensures that the tree's gonna get what it needs right off the bat. I mean, if you were to set this amount of water and let this amount of water sit on the street for 30 minutes, that'd be a good watering. The next thing that's good to do is mulch is a really good idea to put down for your trees because mulch actually helps retain moisture in the soils. I see that you have mulch, so what I now do is I just put mulch down. What that's going to do is that's going to keep your hole or this area around your tree. It's going to help hold the moisture down. That's a tree in the ground. Whenever you're doing your posts, you want to stake your post outside of the hole that you dug for your tree. A little trick that I do is, so rather than putting your tree strap down here, you'll see that there's nothing here that's going to hold this up. And as I said, you know, this tree's going to move. Even when we get this strapped in, it's going to move. And you'll find that if you get a lot of movement, this will just end up working its way down, and then it's no longer being effective. So we've got one tree strap on, so now it's nice to have that other set of eyes. And as I pull this tight, Jake can kind of tell me how we did. Tree's been watered. Tree is staked. You got your mulch down. It's gonna hold the moisture down. This thing's good to go.
So that's it for this episode of Astor 40. We got a great looking tree here thanks to Matt and all of his knowledge. If you have any more questions about trees or anything else, please leave them in the comment below, submit them to us on our social media, get them to us, and we'll try to make a show out of it. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Awesome.
How are those?
Pound. Done.
See how that's done in like 2 takes?
Yeah, that's really, you're just better at it. I keep telling you that.